All right, people, welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best podcast talking about the topic of new metal. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have the notorious TIM, Tim Anderson Jr. Tim, how's it going?
What's up? Great.
And joining us again, quickly becoming the regular, we have straight up from California, Mr. Holiday Kirk. Holiday, thanks again for joining.
Woo!
All right, and this episode, we are going to be doing another album deep dive. We're going to do a band that is, I would say, probably third wave of new metal, and yet they put out one of the surprisingly heaviest new metal albums I've ever heard. The band is Westchester, New York's own Dry Kill Logic, and we're going to be talking about the Darker Side of Nonsense, their debut album from Roadrunner Records. Tim, let's give us a little bit of the background.
All right. Came out June 5th, 2001. Recorded at Red Clay Studios in Suffern, New York. I think that's how you say Suffern.
Suffern.
Suffern. That's what. Okay. Came out on Roadrunner. Was produced by Eddie Wohl or Wohl. I don't even know. I'm the worst with pronouncing shit, so don't mind me. If you listen to my other podcast, you know I'm terrible with that kind of stuff. So I looked up Eddie. He was a signed producer for Roadrunner. He also worked with Il Nino. Remember that band Shooty's Groove?
Oh God, yes.
Awful band, sorry. He's done a bunch of the Primer 55 stuff. He's also worked with Anthrax, H2O, some Chino Moreno solo stuff, Fuel, Robbie Krieger, Josh Homme, and Jada Pinkett Smith. I guess he did
Wicked Wisdom.
There you go. He's also done a lot of mixing for Terra Universal, 36 Crazy Fist, all the Il Nino records. He mixed A Vengeance and Violence for Dry Kill Logic, and he did all of the Primer 55 stuff, like I said. So dude's been around in the new metal world. What else do we got here? Oh, only record for Roadrunner. So I'm trying to figure out why that was. Does anyone know that?
What do you know? What did you find, Holiday?
Let me look into this for real quick. I do remember looking into that one. I think a lot of bands around that era. I think this was when Roadrunner was starting to be like, this new metal stuff isn't paying our bills. Okay, so here's what it says. What I got here. So Dark Side of Nonsense sold around 100,000 copies worldwide. And Roadrunner started pushing them for a more commercial sound, and then they left the label in 2002.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Yeah, so 100,000 records. It spent 2 weeks on the Billboard independent charts, peaking at number 7. Also, the band's first full-length record, but they also had an EP before this named Elemental Evil. Came out in 99. I've heard that before. I cannot remember what it sounds like or if it was good or not. I'm sure it is.
Can we talk about how their first demo had the title of "Cause Moshing is Good Fun"?
Yeah. I remember that now.
That's a fucking great title if I've ever heard it, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Honestly, there wasn't much I could find about this record. I don't know if you guys found more facts about it. If you did, go ahead, but I could not really find anything about this record.
I found some stuff, right? I did some digging. So, again, the first demo was when they were, obviously, we talked about this in the international episode, which by the time this comes out, that'll have been out already, about how they started off as a band by the name of Hinge.
Yep.
And then there was another band named Hinge, so they went to Hinge AD, and then they went to Dry Kill Logic. First demo was in 97. Odd that they're from Westchester, New York. Because if you've ever been to Westchester, it's kind of like white and yuppie.
Well, same as Westchester, Pennsylvania, white and yuppie.
This time about the Westing and Chestering.
Yeah, it's not somewhere that I would expect a band with this sound profile to come out of. You know?
Don't go to Chester, Pennsylvania, though. If you take the West off, you don't go there.
Yeah, it's it's like Mad Max.
That's comparable for Holiday if he went to like Compton.
Oh, Chester is not a good look. Not a good look.
Or maybe actually I heard Compton's on the upswing, so maybe it's a different place in LA now.
They say that about every neighborhood though, except Skid Row.
Okay.
Still go outside, you'll get shot.
Yeah, that's Pennsylvania's Compton.
When
I would love to go to Compton though. I'm not talking shit, people.
Tim just wants to get out to the West Coast. So one of the things I did recognize when I was doing some digging is one of the producers on this album, who also laid down guitar tracks, who also did backing vocals and some of the programming, was Rob Caggiano.
Yeah.
So he's from Volbeat, Anthrax. You know, he'd been floating around that New York scene for a while. And when you listen to this album and how absolutely heavy it is, right? And yet they only have one guitarist. You really must wonder if he had an outsized influence in their sound and what that actually album came out right. Now you watch some of the live videos and they pull it off live.
Yeah.
But the heaviness that's on that recording, it makes you kind of wonder how many tracks are layered with Caggiano playing in the background.
That's a good question too.
I
There's some other facts here I'll read real quick. So the name Dry Kill Logic, the singer says, I saw the name Dry Kill Logic in an effects processor instruction manual. At the time, we thought it was a cool name for a song or something. It actually is a technical term for the cutting of one signal to the effects unit. It was the only cool name we could remember at the time, so that's where that came from. Also, an artist from Brooklyn, New York, came out with the cover art, which that cover art is fucking weird as shit looking, but it is cool. It says here Scott is the band's second guitarist. I don't know who that is. Before
They
Dry Kill
had a
Logic,
second guitarist. They had a second guitarist.
Yeah, it says on here they did. I guess maybe he was live. Not sure. Before Dry Kill Logic, Scott was a body piercer. Cliff was in music. Phil painted houses. And Dave was a phone technician.
That's funny that you say before, because in the interview I'm looking at is they're talking about how the recording sessions were really long, really exhausting because they all had day jobs during it. And it makes sense. This doesn't seem like the kind of a band, the kind of a project, kind of a label where they would be allowed to quit their day jobs. You know?
Yeah. Cliff and Dave were in a band together. Cliff was the drummer and then took over vocals after the singer moved away. Another guy took over drums and left, and Dave met Phil while bartending and asked him to join the band. So people listening, this is coming off of their Angel Fire site.
We'll link it in the show notes. We definitely have it.
So it's either all totally false or all completely 100% true.
Exactly.
And in this case, it's probably true because I don't think there's anything to gain with making up a bunch of Dry Kill Logic facts.
Yeah, that's
whoever
kind of a
made this
weird flex.
is dedicated.
Yeah.
DKL's first gig was in the same house that Cliff now owns. So I guess he bought the house that they had their first show in. So we'll, like Jay said, we'll link this in the notes so you can look at this magical looking site over here, which is probably better than a site I could ever come up with. So
yeah, WordPress makes everybody lazy. So what I did is in homework for this, I went back and tried to find some, because at this point when this album came out, the internet was already a thing. So I tried to find some old reviews, and I found some reviews where they just fucking shit on this album.
And before we go into the reviews, I do think we should just, I don't know, we're like 30 minutes into this episode or something. We should just make it very clear right now that this album is incredible.
Oh, it's awesome. It's
incredible.
Awesome. It is completely awesome, which makes these reviews kind of confusing, right? So there was one on Pop Matters. There was another one Drowned in Sound, where they basically accused them of being Pantera clones, which I don't hear.
Whoever wrote that just hated the band.
I can kind of hear it.
They hated
I can kind of hear it.
But now,
but I mean, you have to be. I mean, people said that about that Throwdown record, and they were.
Well, I wouldn't say.
Oh, they sounded like.
I would strongly disagree with the clone part of it. They're not clones. They absolutely have their own sound.
No, they're not even close in my.
Not
opinion,
like
but that's my opinion. So
ripped off. They just.
I read those reviews too, and I can kind of empathize with it because around 2001, unless you were really paying attention, a lot of these bands did start to blend together. And so there's we have the gift of hindsight where we can start to separate it. But I could see as like a long suffering writer at some indie blog, you'd be like, oh great, here's another fucking Roadrunner album.
Pitchfork guy going fucking new metal again.
Exactly.
But you guys don't hear my ice clinking around, do you?
No. Mix another cocktail tip.
Making a drink on Zoom tonight.
But Holiday, you know what I was also thinking of? This came out, what was it, 2000, 2001? Which one, 2000? Was it?
June 2001.
2001. So if you think about how heavy this album is, right? Think about the new metal that came before it. This is Slipknot, this is when new metal really started to get hard. Mm-hmm. And I can imagine somebody used to watch these fuckers jump when I get loose. And then they put this in and they're like, why is this guy just screaming rise as the chorus? Right? You know?
It's interesting you bring this up. So I'd say in 2001, you have a really serious divergence between the two strains of nu metal. Because before the year 2000, it was all pretty just hard. Like even, Limp Bizkit, who would be the most popular at that point, they were still pretty hard. But once Linkin Park broke through, suddenly it was like, oh, this can be pop music. So you had like a really serious split where you were either making Iowa and just trying to make people bleed from their face, or you were actually trying to sell records and sing hooks and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then Dry Kill Logic, I do think that it is heavy. Literally, I thought of this today. Here's how this album sounds. Terrible movie. You guys remember X-Men 3?
Yep. Which one was that? Was that where they fought on the Statue of Liberty?
They fought on the Statue of Liberty.
Okay.
So yeah, very bad. But oh, wait a minute. No, you're thinking of 2, but semantics. Anyway, there's one very, very good scene in the third one in which the Juggernaut gets punched or something, and he's like, do you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! And then proceeds to run through a bunch of walls in pursuit of this woman. That's what this album sounds like. It sounds like the Juggernaut running through a series of brick walls over and over and over. They have their strengths. They have their weaknesses. They don't do any of the weaknesses. They're just strengths for just 12 tracks. They're just crushing it.
It's a long album, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
13.
10. Yeah, it's a long album, and that's a long time to keep the for lack of a better term, the pressure up, right? Because it's fucking heavy. Like, and we're gonna go into it. It's really heavy.
Well, I think back then, like what Howie said, not to cut you off, sorry. I think back then, Roadrunner had a clause where you had to put out records that had a certain amount of songs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did say that, didn't he?
I had no idea. That is a weird stipulation. I have no idea why you'd say that.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to our episode with Howie Abrams, who was a Roadrunner, what was he again, Jay?
A&R. He was an A&R guy.
He was an A&R guy for Roadrunner. So go back and listen to that episode.
I gotta find that one.
He talks about a bunch of bands on there that were pissed off that like they had a bunch of songs done, and Roadrunner would come back and say, "We need 2 more," and it's just like, oh, Chimera's album. Rob Arnold said that a couple songs on that record they just threw together in like a second because they were just fucking done with the bullshit, and they were just like, throw this bullshit on here like that.
That was another long album,
and that's why. Yeah, that's why that instrumental song on there they play, or they did. They just pulled that out of their ass one day at practice and recorded it.
So everything we're saying here is true. It's very heavy. This album is a very heavy album, but me personally, I don't really like heavy. I don't listen to just heavy a lot. So I want to also point out that this album is also very funny. And it is maybe my favorite thing about it. And what really takes it up there is that it's a funny album. People are opening songs like, this is going to suck.
Oh, that's what sold me. You're right though. There is a humor that comes.
There absolutely is.
Not a self-seriousness that everybody else crying about their parents not letting them buy. You know,
did you guys hear the song that they did about baseball or some baseball song?
I love that. Right at the bat rack. No way, it's so funny. Take me out. Take me out. It's so fucking good. That is exactly what I'm talking about. This was a band that was willing to make some jokes.
And you know what? Tim and I have had this conversation about a band like the Black Dahlia Murder. They're fun because they don't take themselves so seriously. So like, we're a bunch of fucking fat guys playing metal, like let's have some fun with it. And it definitely shows. And I think I told the story, my experience with this album. I was with my girlfriend in the Best Buy, and there was a Roadrunner end cap. And I saw this and based solely, and then I saw the fucking Perverse cover. And saw that I was on Roadrunner. I was like, at this point, it was back in the days where you would give an album a flyer because it was on a label you liked. I was like, fuck it, let's try it. And like you talked about Holiday, which we'll get into. Like once I hit track 3 and he says this is gonna suck, I was like, this album is in. I'm in. I'm in it for the duration. I'm not fast forwarding. I'm not turning this off. So put on headphones.
It's funny, like you can't be taking yourself seriously and stealing choruses from the Spice Girls.
No.
And making it work. Like Slipknot's not doing that. They're not doing that.
No.
What did they steal from them?
Oh, really?
Is
Slipknot?
it No, is
Everything
it
I need
this?
isn't really what I want.
Yeah, right.
I really, really,
Yeah,
really
it's
want
on.
to see
Okay,
you die.
I can't wait till we get to that one. You guys are
Okay,
gonna
yeah.
hate
I don't
me.
want to rush ahead.
All right, so let's go in. So we'll start with track number 1, 3 minutes and 6 seconds, Nightmare. And I'm gonna start with you, Tim. What were your initial
I'm
thoughts?
starting this one. All I can say is you worthless piece of shit. There you go. No, this is a fucking great opener, man.
Yes.
This is like everything good about nu metal is this track right here. It's a perfect opener for the record. And I will say, I wanted to say this. I hope Holiday can still hear me. I fucking hated this record at first.
Really?
It took a while to grow on me for this one. I'm a huge fan of the records after this, but excuse me, this one is very good. I force myself to listen to it like 10 times in a row, and I'm like, every time I'm like, yeah, them guys are right. This is a fucking great record.
Oh,
so
it's a fucking monster. The vocal contrast, right? The screaming with the actual, not whispered, but the spoken word parts, really put things together. I say there's no cursing on this song. It ends up on the radio. If there was no cursing, it would end up on the radio.
yeah,
Well,
you might be right.
One of the things I think is most impressive about this song, and as an opener, is what Dry Kill Logic does on this record that they do better than, I'd say, most of the bands in the genre, is they flip between singing and screaming really effortltly.
Yeah,
Right
he's
on
got
the
a
first-
great voice.
Yeah, he does.
He's flipping between the two, though, where it doesn't sound like, here's the screaming section, here's the singing section. They sort of transition in and out of each other. So right on those first lyrics, he's like, I don't like you, and he modulates the you up an octave, and then right into the singing. And you're not switching off to it. It's not like Corey Taylor, where he's like, and then he's flipping between the two. And it works so much better to be able to listen to it like that.
Yes, and he pulls it off live. If you go all over YouTube and you watch, he actually can switch between the both live, and he still nails it. My notes, like, the guitar tone is sick, and there's
Really
a sick guitar tone.
It's a perfect nu metal guitar tone.
Yes. Crunchy, but not too like compressed to the point where it almost sounds like, a Fear Factor ripoff.
Yeah.
The other thing that I call out here is they growl at the end of the first song. We get fucking death metal growls, which is fucking great, which you don't really see in a lot of nu metal. What's the other band that growled? I think it was who do we do, Tim? We did a deep dive where there was another set of growls, and I was like, holy shit. I forget who it was.
I can't remember, dude.
We've done so many.
I can't. Is there a way to pull up a live video of them while we're doing this? I would love to see that.
I think the live videos, I have trouble with the live videos of this band because they never seem to get the crowds that they deserved.
No.
They were always opening and the crowd was just kind of like, all right, when's
Well,
Primer 55 coming on?
I think a lot of people didn't consider this band a nu metal band because they had a lot of metalcore influence, especially in the newer stuff. Well, especially the stuff that came out like last year. There's a lot of metalcore influence in that, and I think a lot of people seen that, and I think a lot of people back then were looking for the typical, Korn and the typical all that crap that was going on. Not crap, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think this band had to break down moshy parts, and people just were looking at each other like, oh, this is too heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if you asked the band that, they would say that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's too heavy. Like people were saying it's too heavy. And maybe that's another reason that added to Roadrunner where they didn't sell as good because people weren't expecting it to be that heavy.
And I can see where they're in the nu metal world, but they're also in the metal world to the point where that fine line, right, Tim? At that point, the line wasn't so divisive that it says you're a metal band or you're a nu metal band.
But Holiday's right. His reaction to that, because you had bands like Spine Shank around the same time. I mean, that first record, The Height of Calluses, is fucking heavy as shit. That's a crazy good record too.
You like Height of Calluses better than Strictly Diesel?
Don't ask me that right now, please.
Holiday?
I haven't been able to get into them, and I'm sorry about that. I really hate that I have to say that, but I can't I don't like them as much as I want to like them.
Yeah, but I respect you not lying about it.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'll not lie. I've never heard any Dry Kill Logic past the first album.
I'm
I've never
forcing you. I'm forcing you to listen to it next time.
A lot of
Wednesday.
people
we're
I
hanging
know,
out.
The Dead and the Dreaming is a lot of people's favorite Dry Kill Logic album.
That record is incredible. Of
So-
Vengeance and Violence, so goddamn good.
At that point, my taste had moved on, man. I was Poison the
Wow.
Well at that point and all that sort of stuff.
Well, Wednesday,
Okay.
you're getting a dose of a couple songs on each of them records.
All right, so let's move it along. Track number 2, 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Feel the Break. Holiday, your thoughts?
So this would be like a transition. They're doing a lot more singing on this one. This is like straight away into it where you're listening to it, you're like, oh man, this guy can sing. So it's definitely very standard of the era where it's Maynard. It's a kind of a Maynard impression.
Dude, you nailed it right there. I was
Yeah.
literally just going to say that.
And we got to touch on again, though. I was telling you guys about how funny this album is. And at the end of Nightmare, some drummer throws his sticks. Fuck, shit. I
was that
really
it?
like all of those.
I love, those. I fucking love this song, but I fucked up though. Yeah.
Some bitch. Those are, you can't not like those. They're great. And then but Feel the Break is just, I'd say it's like a little bit more subdued. But when these guys really want to put it on, they're just dropping a brick on your head.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the dynamics on this one are a little bit more pronounced. With Nightmare, it's pedal to the steel for the duration, whereas this one, it has a little bit more of trading off back and forth.
Yeah, the intro of the song is very dark, and I like songs like that because that was the thing that draws me into nu metal back then, especially, is when you would have them parts with the effects processors, because back then they would have like the Boss effect, and I'm sure Holiday knows what I'm talking about. They would have like the foot pedal Boss, like multi-effects processors.
Yeah.
And every band was just like, what's the craziest effect we can get to start a song out or put during the verse? Like Korn is a perfect example of the first 2 records. You would hear like them eerie sounding effects that they put in there. And I loved when bands did that shit. And I try and do that with the music I write now. And I can never get the feel of what they did back then.
The drummer also really owns this song.
Mhm.
Drummer's really good. Really good. And on the intro of this one, he's doing some cool fills.
Yeah, that drummer had to have been in a hardcore band or is in a hardcore band because he has all of the techniques of a hardcore drummer.
Yep. I like how you use the word eerie, Tim, because that's the first word I wrote down about this
really?
song.
Okay.
Eerie. How, to your point, Holiday, how the clean vocals really work. You realize that this cat can actually sing. I thought that the one section of the song where it's the bridge into him yelling into the isolated guitar, just how that builds by taking things away. I thought that, I have a note here that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another typical nu metal track you would hear back then. It has all the aspects of it again. Like the guitar parts in this song are just great, man. It's a 2 song in a row, just really good shit, man.
Yeah. I had this album. I had a looping in the background, and Tim will tell you, Holiday, I texted him out of nowhere. I was blowing my leaves, and I just happened to put this album on. I was sitting in a decent piece of property, so blowing my leaves is a 2-hour fucking engagement.
Yeah.
And at one point, I texted Tim, and I must have come off like I was whacked out of my mind on coke, because I was like, dude, we have to deep dive into the fucking Dry Kill Logic album, because it's fucking great. It's heavy. I've listened to it twice, and it's awesome, and I love it. And Tim is like, dude, okay, we'll go in. That's fine.
You got it. Yeah.
I was losing my mind.
My personal thing with this album, I heard about this from the Reddit list of essential nu metal albums. And around the time I found it, I was doing a lot of overtime with this project we had. I did like a 24-hour shift at one point for this project. And this was the album amongst a couple others that like got me through. Because I think you guys can relate. When you got like work to do, you put this on and you're just like, it's so hard not to like get fired up listening to it in that sort of, God damn it, I'm getting this job done if it kills me type of way. It has that feel of an album. And I think that it's important to note that the guys had day jobs doing the album, because it sounds like the work of a bunch of guys that were really dedicated to getting it done. Like it was another job. It sounds
like I'm tired of being a bartender. We got to make sure this record rips.
We got to make this work.
No, I disagree, actually. I think it sounds more like the kind of album a guy who knows he's probably going to keep bartending would make. Whereas something like with like Slipknot or Korn, those albums are all like very much like, man, I'm in so much psychic agony. I have so much coke. this mansion is huge that we're recording in. Like those are albums made by guys whose day jobs are long gone. And
Shit.
they feel like it. There's there's more exploration. There's more, we gotta broaden our sound, stuff like that, which, and all the power to them. But whereas this one's like clocking in, clocking out. I'm clocking in, I'm laying down these riffs, we're doing these vocal takes, we're fucking doing these drums, and I'm clocking out. So I think it's very much like a very workman-like album in the best sense of the word. And this
along that line, Tim, Holiday brings up a good point. When you have to get work done, what's your go-to album to put on in the background?
Fear Factory.
Which
Shit like
one?
that.
Demanufacture?
Absolutely.
great working music. Like
It-
new metal.
Yeah, for me, it depends what kind of mood I'm in. It's either Hatebreed, Satisfaction, Desire when I need to get work done, or when I need to get work done and I'm having a good time, it's fucking Andrew WK.
Of course.
I get
Party
wet.
hard.
If you
The
don't
most good
smile
trap metal of all time.
listening to that album,
I gotta
you
put that
don't
on.
have a heart,
It's been too
don't
long.
have children, you are probably dead.
I gotta put that on. I haven't listened to that in forever.
Oh,
Yeah,
I saw that reunion tour.
we-
Did you go to that one, Tim, in Philly at the TLA where he did the album in its entirety?
I have seen him live. I don't remember where or what it was, though. I know I've seen him live, though.
Dude, we started drinking like 3 hours before that show. I was drinking Yard's Tavern Porter, which is like 13%.
Oh,
I was blasted out of my fucking mind. We go to the TLA. My one buddy orders a round of 6 shots of Jaeger and then
Okay.
6 beers. And the
You don't
lady
remember
tells
it
him
at
it's like
all.
$80. And he looks at her and he goes, I have $12 on me. And she looks at him and he looks at her and he looks at me and I went, oh, fuck you. And I pulled out my Visa card and I'm like, all right, I'll buy him.
Fine.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, now let's get to the meat of it, right? Track number 3, 2 minutes and 59 seconds, Pain.
And this one sucks. This one is gonna suck. Well,
That is, yep.
All right,
That's what sucked me in. Go on, Holiday.
I think at least one of you guys is with me on this one. This is the best song on the album.
I have it tied with 2 others.
I think that this
the
is like a top 20 new metal of all time song. This is an all timer.
in my notes,
Fantastic.
one of the best songs on the record. I agree.
Yep.
Typical new metal title right here.
Pain.
Yeah.
Right?
You had to write the definitive oral history of book. You could call it Pain. You could call the book Pain.
Yep.
See, and this is where I go back to where people thought it was too heavy. China mosh parts in this song.
Oh, yeah. Fucking, that's one of the things I call out here. I'm like, the riffing is a monster. There's some speed to it. There's DJ scratches. And then he does a double bass run at the end of the song.
Yep.
Oh,
China mosh in it. There's double bass break parts in it. It's all over the song. It's one of the best songs on the record. It gets your head moving, man.
This is the song. I mean,
Yeah,
this
love
is
it.
the song. I did a list of my top 40 new metal songs. Has made the top 20, and this is such a great song. This, to me, the part again, and this is funny, and it's really indicative of what they did. The parts where he, during the verses, where all the instrumentation drops out, it's just the drums, and he like very quietly make me like sings those parts. It looks like they go from like full out to dead stop, break me to like sing it, and then right back into it. Fucking love that part. That's amazing. Like nobody else was doing that. And then in the choruses, he's switching off again from the screaming to the singing back, and there is no turntables in this song. Here's how they did the turntable solo. It's a power drill held against the pickup of the guitar while the guitarist wipes the neck of it.
Really?
That's how they made that sound.
That's awesome.
Fucking
I love that fucking
spitting facts over here.
Yep.
I love that studio shit. But yeah, this is the song where I'm in the car with the girlfriend, track 1 plays, track 2 plays. This is gonna suck. The guitar comes in, the drums comes in, and he yells, enough pussy shit. And I just started giggling. And she looked at me, she's like, why are you laughing? I'm like, hit rewind again. And I couldn't get out of the intro because it's just fucking awesome.
And it just slams. It just slams so hard. You're just immediately with it. It's impossible to me that these guys weren't throwing these rager shows.
Yeah. Right?
Roadrunner
Like this is like
kill
kill somebody.
Fucked it up so bad. There's no way.
I think
So, like,
Roadrunner is a label that is so rich that they don't give a fuck to lose money on a certain couple bands. You know what I mean?
Or bands just get lost in the shuffle. Like I don't know why these guys didn't tour with Slipknot. Like why would you put them on tour with Primer 55? Like oh my god, of all the
I almost saw that
bands.
show. It was at the Cadillac Bar, Tim, on South Street.
Oh shit.
I think Roadrunner, this was at the point where, and even Glassjaw came out around the same time, and they said that Roadrunner had Nickelback and they had Slipknot, and that was that. And that's what they
Yeah.
were pushing.
That sounds
And
about
they
right.
could have pushed this and made it fucking huge. It could have been huge.
And weren't they pushing Digimortal at the same time?
I think so. But I remember like the Glassjaw guys, you listen to the interviews with Daryl and the guitarist, where they talk about how, Roadrunner didn't really give a shit about us. They were worried about pushing Slipknot. And then This Is How You Remind Me got big on the radio. So they were pushing that fucking trash Nickelback. And they sort of left them by the wayside. And that, I mean, Glassjaw, that album influenced an entire genre. Genre.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want to say something. I know everybody shits on Nickelback. I get it. Blah, 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 blah. You cannot deny the band writes hits.
They write fucking good songs.
They write panty-dropping hits.
You very
all day.
literally can't deny that.
No, you can't.
That dude is a hit machine. So anyone that is talking shit, where I've seen people get to the point where they're like, I fucking despise that band. It's like, no, you're just jealous that you can't get the pussy he does and you can't write the songs he does. Stop it.
It's just all right. Moving inside to track number 4, Nothing, 3 minutes 29 seconds. So I'll kick this one off. I have here that again, the riffing is a monster. How he raps and then it goes into that weird climbing guitar riff, right, where the guy's going up the neck. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
The distortion really rung out for me. Like you can really hear the distortion that he's pushing. And when you think about it, like the verse, the song is in overarchingly, right? It's a basic time signature. It's not much more than 4 on the floor. But the stuff that they do during the verses catches your ear and you can't help but tap your foot.
Yeah, this is the most industrial song on the album.
Yeah.
A lot of double bass in this one as well.
Yeah.
This is one of the best bands that puts groove out of nowhere. It just inserts groove out of nowhere. And I fucking love that. Because I'm one of them people that when a band just goes all crazy, like Dillinger the whole time, I turn it off. I need groove.
Absolutely.
I need groove in my music.
I'm exactly the same way.
And that's why
I want choruses, I want bridges, I want structure.
Exactly. And that's why I'm one of them people that loves Pantera so much, because they were the fucking groove gods. I don't care what anyone says. Every fucking song just has that head knocking groove in it. And this record has that in it. I love it, man.
See, I love the Dillinger stuff because I can't pay attention for jack shit. So the fact that it's always changing makes me pay attention, because otherwise I'd be like, oh, the fuck.
Yeah, but I like bands that have Dillinger parts with the groove. You know what I mean? So Converge, shit like that.
Yeah. This is a great song. And it leads to one of the stronger tracks on the album, Asphalt, spelled with 2 S's, 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
What the fuck is an asphalt?
I think it's I like I have my notes here say what is the weird Soulfly tribal shit?
Yep.
Which I actually really enjoy. And that weird sort of tom on the offbeat. Like I think that adds a lot to the song. But after those first 4 tracks back to back to back, this one is kind of like not a filler, but it's like, okay, we got to get to the midway point. Let's throw this one in there. What are your thoughts?
This is my least favorite track. I'll just say that.
I would say so. I would say that this album, it does actually feel to me like it's a little long, right? You have it's got its highlights, but the thing is that when it gets, what I would say are the filler tracks of the song are not bad. This band was not doing bad songs at this time. They were doing exactly what they did good. Yeah. So I think there's just a couple songs on here, and I'm totally okay with being disagreed upon here. But there are a couple of songs on here that I feel like could be swapped around without much consequence. Asphalt, Wait, Track 13, Give Up, Give In, Lie Down, Straight Call Me Out. You could just kind of flip those around and you wouldn't be really interrupting the album or the sequencing or whatnot. Every one of those songs very good on their own right, but as a next to each other, they kind of start to blend in with each other.
I would agree with that because I think one of the only criticisms I can give it this album is towards the end you can tell it runs out of gas. Like I think not to get ahead of ourselves, but like The Strength I Call My Own is a good song, but you can tell like it's like Jesus, they're exhausted. They needed to get one more song on the album, and this might have been one of the last ones added. Love to get like Cliff on and ask him like, what was the last song you recorded for this session? Because I'll bet you it's probably one of these that we can tell is.
I do think that works. I might revise mine to say that The Strength I Call My Own should, if you look at the album like as a front to back listen, it does actually feel kind of conceptual in that sense of like someone getting tired, because it does seem to like get tired out as like a thematic, purposeful thing toward the end of the album.
Yeah,
it's this song. I just can't do this one.
Really? Like you don't like it?
Yeah, I just don't really care for this song.
No kidding.
It's one of them songs where it's a skippable song for me. It's just I don't know. Maybe I'm just an asshole. I don't know.
I wouldn't. No. I wouldn't. No. I don't think any of us are like gonna come out. So if you had said that about like Pain or something, I'd have hung up. But but we're all in agreement here. There's a couple songs on here that kind of blend. But I do think that as a front to back, it's incredibly solid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a solid record for sure.
Yeah, but this is one of those songs where it might have been addition by subtraction by taking this one off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Like even now, like we're going to track 6. Wait, I'm not sure what that sounds like offhand. I can't quite remember.
Wait is I actually wrote. This is the power ballad. Right, this is the one where it's the guitar has those Stuck Mojo squeals. The
oh yeah.
It's got some kind. Hit the time thing on there real quick.
This song was track number 6, and it was 4 minutes and 6 seconds. So it's one of the longer songs on the album.
This song has some god awful System of a Down style vocals in it, but this track is hard as shit. Them SOAD vocals, I cannot stand. If you listen to this, I hate that. But this song is a great song. I could just do without some of the vocal patterns in it. The intro.
Are you not into System in general?
Go ahead, Tim. While I get a beer, go ahead and rant. I'll be back, and you'll still be ranting.
Boy.
I fucking despise that band. I can't stand anything they do. I hate his vocals. I hate the lyric. I hate all of it.
I don't know if I'd go as far as despise, but I will say I never listened to him. And when I did my top 40 new metal songs, someone asked me, they're like, oh, no System? And I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about System of a Down.
The only song I would purposely listen to by System of a Down is Aerials, because I do think that's a good track.
Great
but
song.
The rest of it is garbage. Sorry.
I would never argue to someone that they're not good. I definitely like them, but
yeah, I don't like Jim Carrey metal. I can't.
That is a great
Tim.
I don't like Ace Ventura metal.
Call Adam Easterling right now. Ask him if he's free, and we'll come.
I might have to steal the Jim Carrey metal thing. They were such a Jim Carrey.
Oh, metal Tim said that. What did Tim call it? He called it Ace
Ventura metal.
And I was
like that wacky metal shit.
Every time I hear this band, I picture every time I hear this band, I picture Jim Carrey with his face out of the car with the broken windshield.
I want a shimmy.
Yeah.
You may have ruined that to me now.
Holiday, he said that to me in like the middle of a meeting, and he's like, I can't do it. I can't listen to this fucking Ace Ventura metal. And I'm on a WebEx just biting my cheeks because I don't want to start laughing because that is the best descriptor. I don't know.
The troublesomely accurate descriptor.
Yes.
They shouldn't have had Cannibal Corpse in that movie. It should have been System of a Down.
That'd have been fucking hilarious. I'd like the band a little more actually if they had been in the Ace Ventura movie.
Right.
It's actually if you've ever watched the interviews of Jim Carrey around that time, he said his two choices were Cannibal Corpse and Napalm Death.
Napalm Death, yeah.
Imagine like Barney. Have you ever seen them live? Fucking Barney is awesome. He is so funny. He was making fun of their guitarist for looking like a juggalo, and he looks at them and he's like, "Woot woot." Yeah, he's a trip.
Yeah,
All right, let's go. Let's go to
the.
let's go to the midway point of this album, track number 6. No, we just did track number 6. Fuck. Have another beer, Jay. Track number 7. A Better Man Than Me. 2 minutes 55 seconds. The second shortest song in the album.
This is an important song because this is a very divorced guy album. I would actually say, this is just me, but I actually think that this album is about a guy named Seb getting a divorce. It just feels like a very divorced dude album. And this song is the most divorced dude song on the album. I could see he's a better man than me. What you want, what you need. Starting to like come around. All right. I get it. I get why you're leaving, taking the kids.
Me plus you equals nightmare. Yeah. This
you
is
don't like me. I love you. This is a divorce parking lot album for sure. This is a custody battle ass.
Battle album.
This is a clunker for me, man.
See, I like.
Wow, Tim.
Yeah.
This is where. Hold on, I gotta write down. This is a custody.
I think I gotta put a pause on the proceedings so I can catch Tim on this. Tim, what would you give this album out of 10?
6.
Holy shit!
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow. What would you give The Dead and Dreaming?
10. I love that record.
They're not even close to me. I think The Dead and Dreaming is fine. I think it's a lot less distinctive than this one. I totally disagree.
The chorus of Paper Tiger is better than this entire record.
The chorus of Paper
was their
Tiger,
biggest song, right?
So, okay, I'm glad you brought it up. So the chorus of Paper Tiger is great for sure. But the thing is that gets to what I don't like about that album, because on Paper Tiger, he actually is switching off between screaming and singing. He's doing the exact opposite of what I like on this album. There's like, he's screaming here and then click, now he's singing. And I'm just not as big a fan. I don't think that was their strength. It actually sounds to me like they tried to be commercial more on that second record. I wouldn't fight you on this. I haven't listened to the album enough times to have like a really solid opinion on it, but yeah, you're getting real raggedy on this record. I'm starting.
No, it gets better. Don't worry, it gets better.
Oh yeah. But man, a 6.
I do love the guitar harmonic parts in this track, though.
Can I talk you up to a 7? No, Jay, hang on. A 6 out of 10. Isn't that like around what Pop Matters gave the album?
I think so. Yeah.
Come on,
don't get me wrong. It's a good album. I just love their later stuff.
You hold them to a high standard.
Yes, because the first record I heard was Dead and Dreaming. And that is a classic. That's been a classic record in my repertoire, if you want to call it, for a very long time. And it's a record that I go back to a lot. It's a record that I'll put on when I can't seem to find something to listen to.
And this is actually a great example of the small but impactful age difference between Tim and myself. Because I think we're only separated by like 3 years. I think, Tim, right?
About that, yeah.
But how fast music tastes changed. You know, Tim came in with A Dead and Dreaming and loved it. At this point, I'd already moved on to something else. I thought this album was the fucking tits, and I was, then my taste changed. So it does show how the time at which you experience this stuff does actually play a big part in what your opinion is of the sound itself.
Absolutely.
So Tim, if this was the only Dry Kill Logic album, what would you give it?
Probably it would bump up to a 7.
Man, I just don't know. Your description of this song though is like a clunker. I feel like this album is very clunkerless, where they're like really maintaining a baseline of quality here. It's not like No Sex off of Significant Other or.
See, that's my favorite song on that record.
This is what makes us great. This is what makes us great on this podcast, because there's always this tension. We have shit we're not just like agreeing about everything.
I knew Jay was gonna love that one.
We couldn't have fucking planned that better if we wrote that out in the script. That's fucking great.
That's why I'm still smiling and laughing a little bit.
All right. So Tim has given this one a 6. Let's move on to
I'll give it a 7.
Unquestionably.
I'll bump it up to 7 for you
All
guys.
right.
Okay.
That's all I need. That's all I need.
Track
You know
number
what?
8.
I will bump it to 7 because they have a lot of good qualities that I look for in new metal. So yeah, I'll give it a 7.
Let's go to unquestionably.
He's still mad that I said No Sex is the best song on Significant Other.
No.
I actually think $3 Bill is better than Significant Other. We can argue about this later.
You're crazy. That's
No,
crazy
not even.
talk.
But I will say that the EP they did with Ross Robinson was fucking great.
Never
So
heard
let's
that
go
one.
to what is probably the best song on the album. Track number 8, 4 minutes, 32 seconds, Rot.
This is a live staple for them right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
This song this speaks live track. This is the track we get people to beat the shit out of each other to right here.
I mean, you rip like Holiday said before we started, you rip off the Spice Girls in the intro, and then you have a 4 count on the hi-hat at the end where you go into basically the mother of all breakdowns.
Yeah.
Right? It goes straight up halftime. Where's the dude in the fucking with the swoop haircut and the white belt karate chopping in the mosh pit? Like that's the next step. It is awesome.
Yeah, this has some SOAD vocals in it as well, but they're not as pronounced.
Thoughts, Holiday?
So I'm reading this interview right now where he's like pretending. They're like so the interviewer is like oh yes, that song Rod. It sounds like the Spice Girls. And what he's saying is he's like, actually, we had the Spice Girls lyrics in there before we had to remove them because we couldn't afford it. But that is so. Let me just talk you through this one. If you want to be so, wait. How's it? No, it goes. Yo, I'll tell you what I want. What I really, really want. So tell me what you want. What you really, really want. I really, really want to zig a zig ah. I'm really having trouble imagining that being in the song.
Me as well.
But that's apparently how it was.
I kind of want to hear that.
They said it says in the interview that's how they do it